Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? Welcome to Big Talk with Bruce Dickey here on Wabash Catch TV. Thank you so much for joining us today, as we're going to have a lot of fun today. We are going to talk about the upcoming Scopes Trial Re-enactment set for July in Salem, Illinois. Did y'all know that Salem has a three-time presidential nominee as its most famous son? We'll talk about that here with Jim Koehler and Myron Lloyd as the morning goes on. How you doing, fellas?
We're doing well today. Great to be back in Louisville.
Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate y'all
Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
We're going to talk about that with these fellas here in a little bit. Hope you are having an outstanding day, folks, as we talk about a wide variety of things here on this beautiful Tuesday, May 13th. Thank you so much for joining us in here today on May 13th. Let's give you a few community events, some things going on in and around our area. Actually, not a ton, and I'm not doing a show tomorrow, so I'm going to give you Tuesdays and Wednesdays community events as well. As up in Effingham today, it's the HSHS St. Anthony's Memorial Hospital. They're hosting a community blood drive. This is an Impact Life blood drive. It is going to be from 7:30 in the morning until 12:30 in the afternoon. Of course, Impact Life is the provider of blood components for many local hospitals, mainly in the central Illinois area, south central Illinois, and throughout Missouri and Iowa and that kind of things. To donate, you need to give them a call. Make an appointment. That's the best way to go about it. Contact Impact Life at 800-747-5401, and they'll be able to help you out. Or you can go to bloodcenter.org online if you would prefer. Find the local blood drive, and they'll be able to help you out. Takes about 45 minutes. Individuals with diabetes and controlled high blood pressure may be accepted as eligible donors. Are you fellas? You fellas have? I'm assuming by age. I have been a previous blood donor for many, many, many years. I no longer am, because at a particular age, one has medications one takes that they are no longer permitted to donate blood. Have you been donors all your lives, either one of you?
I have until medication.
I have too, until medication this time.
Yeah, I got to tell you, and I tell people all the time whenever they ask me about it, I always felt that over the course of time, when you get in the habit of making blood donations, you could feel you could feel your blood kind of a new set of blood coming in. Right. Am I wrong about that?
No, that's right. Yeah.
I always kind of wondered if I was the only one who thought that. I'm glad you guys don't think I'm crazy.
No.
Not yet, anyway.
You fit right in.
Reserve judgment, Myron. Reserve judgment.
I'd like to invite you to come and be at the home, and you can talk to people there. So we could do well.
Then I'd be crazy.
Have you interviewed from the porch?
Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be great. But yeah, blood drive is today up there at Effingham at the HSHS St. Anthony's Memorial Hospital. Get a hold of them. They'll be able to help you out. And every pint of blood you donate helps at least 3 people. So I urge you to go about doing that.
Very worthy.
I must tell you, folks, I've always felt good about blood donation because I don't donate much money to anybody.
So now they know.
Now they know. Now they know. What else going on here on this Tuesday? The Effingham Public Library is presenting, this is not quite as much fun as blood donation, a conversation on poverty. Best-selling author Matthew Desmond will close out the 4th season of Conversations, presented by the Suzette Brumleve Memorial Effingham Public Library on tonight from 7 to 8 o'clock. He is a professor of sociology at Princeton University and author of the award-winning book Evicted: Poverty and Profit in an American City. So that might be, and he's also a MacArthur Genius Fellowship grant winner. So that's something you might look forward to. Again, that is at 7 o'clock tonight over there in Effingham at the Suzette Brumleve Library. What else going on this week? Over on Wednesday, Wednesday, May 14th, it'll be the Skill Forge ACDC training. The Illinois Eastern Community College over at Noble, Terry L. Bruce West Richland Center. It's at this morning. We'll be having a Skill Forge ACDC training it's today and next Wednesday. Tomorrow and next Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Noble. Explore ACDC electrical systems for industrial, commercial, agricultural, and residential applications. If you sign up, go to the IECC Facebook page. You can sign up and they'll set you up there. Probably a good way to get into if you're going to be a fine way to figure out if you want to become involved in becoming an electrician. That seems like the quickest way to learn. What else is going on Wednesday in Flora? At 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, it's the Flora Pickleball Tournament. The Flora Chamber of Commerce has announced the inaugural, it's their first ever, paddle battle pickleball tournament taking place. Well, they're signing you up starting tomorrow, but the pickleball tournament is going to be Saturday in the pickleball courts. You know, they have the brand new pickleball courts there on the west side of town in Flora, it's just off of Southern Gardens Shopping Center. Entry fee is $25 a person, additional $10 for a mixed team registration. So get that. So that would, I guess, $35 as a team, $25 as an individual. Games will begin at 9 o'clock with the adult male beginners games and finish with the adult mixed intermediate. They're going to have classes and flights and advanced games at 5:45 p.m. Players are guaranteed at least 6 games during the tournament. So you get your money's worth. That's all right. King and queen of the courts will also be named. You guys pickleball guys? Pickleball players?
No.
Can't say that I do.
Can't say what that.
Did you play tennis?
No.
Did you play tennis? You didn't play tennis. My mother, I must tell you, my sainted Happy Mother's Day yesterday, Mom, or Sunday, Mom. My mother is a tennis player and was a tennis player. She now still golfs. She's 80X years old. And we were talking about pickleball at lunch yesterday. I had no idea. I'd never talked to my mother about pickleball. She is a tennis player. Pickleball's for whips. I said, well, Mom, you know, the folks want to stay active. I don't know. So go out there and play tennis like a real person. All right. Whatever you say, Mom. That's
it's Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day. She can say whatever she wants.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. The pickleball tournament is set again for Saturday, but you can start registering for it tomorrow. Effingham Public Library, now they're having something else on Wednesday. This is a great idea, especially for folks in cities, actually work in the city offices. The Effingham Public Library holding a grant writing program. It'll be from 10 a.m. until 11:30 tomorrow. It's a 90-minute program to learn the basics of grant writing. It's going to be also at the Suzette Brumleve Effingham Library. Grant writing presentation, let's see, it will be at the Workman Room in the library's lower level. Registration is required, and again, this is tomorrow, so you can still get a hold of them and register. You also, a library card, however, is not necessary to attend. Instructors Kristen Bertrand, Program Officer for the Southeastern Illinois Community Foundation, and Beth Craig, Grants Writer and Coordinator for Lakeland College, will teach participants how to find grants and how to write strong proposals, as well as other tips that each beginner needs to get started with confidence. I'm telling you, folks, if you live in a town that has a good grant writer, it's amazing the difference between a town that doesn't know how to write a grant, because grant writers are they're invaluable, aren't they, fellas?
Yeah, they can pay their own salary.
They can pay their own salary is exactly right,
sure
because
can.
there are grants out there.
Yeah.
And if you got somebody who knows what they're doing, they're able to get them. And I mean, the grants are to help the community. So if you're interested in doing that kind of work, by all means, go start and see if it's for you. What else going on Wednesday? Songwriter open mic night. My good friend Bill Pasalacqua and Pos Music Works, they do this every week up there at the Village Wine and Spirits in Effingham. 7:30 tomorrow night. Songwriter open mic night. That once a month. I don't think it's this week, but they do it every week. But once a month they have the whole band back there. This one I think being it's usually the first week of the month they do that. So this will be the second Wednesday of the month. So the whole band won't be there. Bring your own acoustic guitar, start pumping out the tunes. You'll have a good time. What else is going on today, ladies and gentlemen? May 13th. This is a fancy one. It is National Fruit Cocktail Day. Enjoy fruit cocktail. If you've been celebrating food holidays routinely, Fruit Cocktail Day might be a way to improve your calorie count. Many of us have childhood memories of a dish of fruit cocktail regularly served with a meal. Fruit cocktail consists of various kinds of fruit in a liquid of its juices or maybe syrup. And while you can purchase it in cans and individual serving cups, it make it fresh and it makes it much, much better. Cafeterias serve fruit cocktails, a healthy fruit option in schools and at buffets as well. Let's see, the invention of the fruit cocktail, William Cruess of the University of California, Berkeley, and also Herbert Gray of Baron Gray Packing Company in San Jose, California, have both been credited with the invention of the fruit cocktail. I like a good fruit cocktail, but I don't like melon in my cocktail. I feel, is that a bad thing? Melon's just kind of they're throwing it in.
There's never enough cherries.
Never enough cherries.
Very enough cherries.
You gotta have. I love to have the orange, the little tangerine orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little.
Put it in Jell-O.
Yeah,
Put it
there
in
you
Jell-O.
go. There you go. I'm entirely with you, Jim. We can talk about that, but this next one we can really talk about.
Okay.
I can really get behind you. As the next one is, ladies and gentlemen, National Apple Pie Day.
Okay.
America's favorite dessert, observed annually on May 13th. First apple. Okay, when, fellas, do you think the first apple pie recipe was printed in the English language? To give you a little hint, not in the U.S., in the English language. What century? I will ask you the century involved, and I'll give you a century. In what century was the
I'll
first?
say in the 1600s, and it was not in the United States, it was in Europe.
That's a good thought. How about you?
I would say the same.
In 1381.
Oh man, it's only 300 years old.
Only 300 years off.
In 1381 in England, the first apple pie recipe was printed. The list of ingredients included good apples, good spices, as well as figs, raisins, pears, saffron, and corn, which was a type of pastry crust. I had no idea what corn was, but of course you can make apple pies in all kinds of different ways. Soldiers during World War II were often quoted as saying they were fighting for mom and apple pie, and then in the 1970s is when Chevrolet made it famous with the baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet song. I do remember that.
Well, even minced meat was a big part of that was apple.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Mincemeat, a lot
which
of
would be
apple.
very European.
Yeah, that would probably be. I wonder if that would be French or something. I wonder what the mincemeat would be.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But there you have
But
it.
the
folks.
spices you mentioned,
Well, the figs.
Pretty much, yeah.
They kind of lock it in. What else? One other thing going here on May 13th, National Holiday. Get behind this one, National Frog Jumping Day on May 13th. It's a favorite of young and old alike. In 1865, Mark Twain published his first short story, Jim Smile and His Jumping Frog. Later, he changed the name and published The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. And this same story had a third title, The Notorious Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. The current frog jumping record was set in 1986 by a frog named Rosie the Ribbeter. That's a great name. Rosie the Ribbeter.
Ribbeter.
How long? I'll give you 2 feet either direction. How long do you think the longest frog jump is?
His name was Rosie.
Her name, I presume.
Her name was Rosie.
I
I'll say 6 feet 10 inches.
6 feet 10 inches. He says you're going to need more than 2 feet. How about you?
I would have said 6 to 8 feet.
21 feet 5
Really?
3/4 inches.
Wow.
That's a leap.
Must have had a rocket on her.
That's a see. Look at that kid trying to get the see that frog's got that frog's going. He's blowing on that
Yeah.
frog to make it to scare it into the air. So yeah, a nice way to celebrate.
Wow.
There you go.
20.
What else going on today? What do you want to see on television? We do have high school baseball this afternoon. Benton is at T-Town. I'll be in Teutopolis for that game. That's at 5 o'clock. That's not 4:30 like normal. It's a 5 o'clock start up in T-Town this afternoon for the Benton Rangers. Also in a Major League Baseball tonight, I've got the Boston Red Sox at the Detroit Tigers. That is at 5:40 on TBS. That's channel 272. It's Brian Bello versus Cater Montero. The White Sox play the Reds. That's on CSN channel 353. Jonathan Cannon versus Andrew Abbott. Cardinals, they just keep winning, folks. Let's knock wood, keep them going. As, 8 or 9 in a row now? We're all for that. At least I am. You guys probably not Cardinal fans, are you? No.
I follow the Cardinals.
You follow the guy? How about you? You all right? Well, good.
And they are winning, but there's always time.
See, that's the thing. You're not mentioning. You're not speaking up because you don't want to jinx anything.
Right. Because they don't have a bullpen.
Yeah, that's more true than I'd like to admit, Jim.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for bringing everybody down.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, we're in the middle of an 8th grade winning
exactly
streak.
right.
And here he comes.
Let the starters pitch a few
Jim's
days.
just running their base day. Thanks a lot, Captain Buzzkill. As the Cardinals will be at the Phillies tonight. That's on FanDuel Network, channel 370. Sonny Gray versus Jesus Luzardo. Cubs will be at home tonight as well. They've got Valente Beloso versus Ben Brown. That's on Marquee, channel 365. NBA basketball this evening. Pacers are 3-1. Chance to eliminate the Cavs that's at 6:30 on TNT, channel 630. Probably channel 273. And the Nuggets, that'll be followed by the Nuggets at the Oklahoma City Thunder. TNT, channel 273 as well at 9. Finally, NHL hockey playoffs tonight. The Jets are at Dallas. Dallas leads it 2-1. They can really put a crimp in the Jets' chances with a win tonight. That's on ESPN channel 360. You are watching Big Talk with Bruce Dickey. Jim Koehler is here along with Myron Lloyd, and we are going to talk all about William Jennings Bryan and the upcoming reenactment of the Scopes Trial in Salem in about a month or two. But it's always good to get the word out early. You're watching Big Talk. Back in a sec. Stick around.
When you want an honest deal and hometown service without the runaround, go to Lamont Chevrolet Chrysler in Fairfield. Let Gabe McGahey, Sheldon Bunning, Jeff Black, Dennis Downs, Matthew Rogers, or Caleb Dunn score the best deal for you on your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Parts and service departments with factory-trained technicians and express lane and state-of-the-art tire and alignment technology. Lamont always inspects your battery, antifreeze, wipers, and tires for free. We want you prepared for the open road ahead. Open 24/7 at LaMonsOnline.com. You'll like the way we do business.
Hello, folks. Bruce Dickey here with Wabash Catch TV. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you also for tuning into Wabash Catch TV's Big Talk with Bruce Dickey. You can find it here daily at 9 a.m. and at 1 p.m. Talk about all kinds of different subjects. People, interesting folks in the community, community events coming up, just all kinds of stuff that will matter to you. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks a lot. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
My grandfather, Carol Rush, opened Rush Appliance in October of 1949. This is Sean Rush, and I am driven by the same determination and commitment to quality that has set us on the road to success. A lot has changed in the appliance industry since 1949, but at Rush Appliance, we're doing everything we can to remain trusted, strong, and competitive. We are extremely proud of our roots, and we look forward to providing you with quality and service at Rush Appliance and Furniture Company in downtown Fairfield.
It is all things new at Zimdar's Heating, Air Conditioning, and Appliance Repair. We have a new line of heating and cooling equipment and new technicians. Our new equipment line offers 24 months free financing and excellent warranty coverage. Our experienced service technicians can provide you with quality service and repairs on all brands of HVAC equipment. Zimdar's has been serving Clay County and the surrounding areas for over 23 years. The employees of Zimdar's are here to help, so call local and call Zimdar's.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. Big Talk with Bruce Dickey here on Wabash Catch TV, as joined today by Jim Koehler along with Myron Lloyd. And we are going to talk about, I got to tell you, and I knew who William Jennings Bryan was. I'm a history type of guy. But I got to tell you, before you called me, it was kind of, I didn't realize, before I took this job, but first of all, I didn't know he was from Salem.
Yep.
Do you think people know? By the way, welcome to the show, Jim. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having us.
Myron, thank you very much for being here. Do you think people know their own history much, or to a level they should?
No, they really don't. I don't. People in Salem don't know much about Bryan, and that's why we're out trying to give Bryan his name and get his name out there and get things going. And they don't teach him much in school. They just say, well, he lost 3 times as president, and that's it.
And that's the fascinating thing to me, is that the guy led an incredibly varied life, right? I mean, he was a politician, tried to be a soldier, and he was also a businessman and an attorney, for crying out loud. They've made movies based on some of his work. Did you know, how long have you been in Salem, Myron?
50 plus years.
Did you know much about William Jennings Bryan before you got there?
Not until I moved to Salem. I had heard his name, of course. Yeah. But no, I had not.
How long did William Jennings Bryan live in Salem, Myron?
Well, he lived.
He was born there, right?
He was born there in 1860.
Okay.
And then he left when he was 15 and moved to Jacksonville. After that, he never did come back to live there again. But he was back often and was very well known. That's the thing. Those are the people he grew up with. His family had been there since the 1850s. So at that point, he was very well known. But like in our day, everybody has a certain length of time.
Right.
And they knew the home was there. They knew the park was named for him. They knew the statue was there.
May not have known the park was named for him.
It
says William Jennings Bryan Park, right. But if you don't know who William Jennings Bryan is.
Now, his statue was brought back in '61 from Washington, D.C. And so from that time on, people are familiar with the name. But no, Jim and I are really having to re-educate.
Tell me a little bit about this. Tell me, this is basically where you guys spend a lot of time, isn't it? Tell me about this place.
That home was built in 1852.
Okay.
His father, Silas, by that time had graduated, had become the superintendent of schools for Marion County, enjoyed politics, so started running to become a judge.
Oh, really?
He did have a private law office, but then he actually was a judge. He was first elected in 1857, and then in 1852, he was reelected in 1857 and was a circuit judge.
So this house is basically the style of a judge's house in the
Right, and there were around
19th century.
around 12 houses built in Salem with that same floor plan.
Oh, really?
And about 10 of them are still existing
Oh, are
in that
they?
area of town. The one thing that made his different because of his position, they had floor-to-ceiling windows,
Okay.
if you noticed,
Yeah,
on
well,
the
I'll get
front
back to-
porch
right.
and on either side porch.
That is, you don't see that in this day and age.
No, and most of the people just had your typical windows like above.
Right.
So his house stood out a little bit because of that. He actually he cut the lumber, he helped build the home.
His father did.
His father did.
Yeah.
He sure did, yeah.
How long did Mr. Bryan live here?
They lived there until about 1867.
Okay.
But they continued owning the home probably until his death. At his death, it did leave the family. They would live at their home out on Bryan Lane, which was at that time called Fredonia Road, and it would have taken you from Salem to Fredonia. But anyway, they kept that, and they used it for ministers coming through town, or people needed a place to live temporarily.
Like a non-paying Airbnb.
Right.
Just to help folks. I mean, and religion was a gigantic part of Mr. Bryan's.
Mr. Bryan himself, the judge, was a Baptist, diehard Baptist. His wife was a Methodist, but then she did change her faith, and they let their children pick their own faith. And Bryan chose to be a Presbyterian because he was with the Presbyterian kids his age.
I did not realize I was thinking he was a Baptist.
No, he was
He's
Presbyterian.
Presbyterian.
And remained Presbyterian there, and his father left it up to him. He wanted to be a Baptist minister, of course, because of his parents going to church there.
Right.
Well, when he saw that you had to be immersed to become a member, he chose not to be a Baptist.
He chose not to.
Yeah,
No
and he
kidding.
asked his dad, so what do I do? And he said, well, what? He said, all of your friends go to the Presbyterian, which was Cumberland Presbyterian at
Yeah.
the time. And so I thought that was really
That is fascinating.
amazing that his father and mother gave the kids that. Now, the daughters remained Baptist.
Yeah.
Or his sisters.
How many kids were there in the family?
And Mrs. Bryan delivered 9 children. 5 lived.
5 lived through.
6 did live, but 1 died as a teenager.
Okay.
And the daughters all pretty much stayed in there with, their mother was 16 years younger than their father. And so he died, well, he actually died in 1880. So, and then she lived a bit longer,
She lived another 15 or so years.
Right, yeah. In fact, she died the year that he left, 1896. He left her funeral. They had come home for her funeral. He left her funeral and took the train from Salem to Chicago to attend the Democratic Convention and was elected, or was chosen, nominated, not elected, was chosen.
This is the fascinating thing, I think, Jim, that I didn't realize. The man was how old whenever he was nominated to run for president?
36.
36 years old. 20 years after he'd left, basically 25 years after he'd left Salem.
Yeah,
How did that's some pretty meteoric rise.
that is.
How does that happen?
He had the gift of being able to talk. He got his education. He wanted to do right by people. And he came home after his first speech that he ever gave. He came home to his wife and he told her, I believe this is what I need to be.
No kidding.
And so
he knew what he was doing.
when he got into that, he said, he always had the poor and the middle class in his heart.
Yeah.
And he communicated with people, and people would come by the thousands.
And he was a reformer.
Yes, he was. He was one of the earliest
and a pacifist.
guys to consider anything that, like women's right to vote and things like that nobody had ever thought about.
When you picture people running for president, especially here in recent times, I mean, we're looking at guys in their 70s and
right.
80 years old. Take a look at these two guys.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the 1896 ticket for the Democratic Party. Bryan there on the left-hand side of Nebraska. He moved to Lincoln, ended up in Lincoln, right?
Moved to Lincoln with his, he stayed in Jacksonville, but he couldn't make enough money there, so a friend of his had started a business in Lincoln, so he moved to Lincoln, and Bryan brought his family there, and that's how he got into that, being an attorney, and then he got into politics. And then everything just went crazy from then on. But yeah, he was most people don't realize he was a very young man and he got involved because, like you say today, you got to be a senior citizen.
Well, Obama was basically the exception to the rule.
Exactly.
And John Kennedy.
Yeah, that's
John
right.
Kennedy, yeah.
That's right. The guys in their 40s
Yeah.
whenever they became president. Other than that, you're well. Whoops. You're well older.
Sorry, Kennedy.
Nice of William Jennings Bryan to check in. Or Kennedy's checking in. Yeah, that's great.
You should have talked to me.
When we're working in the House, you'd be surprised that weird things do seem to
I was
happen.
going to ask that here in a little bit. I didn't want to warn you. I was going to. I know how 140-year-old houses work. The house I deal with is 140. The house you're dealing with,
173.
that's quite a bit older. I've got these gentlemen here. We're talking about William Jennings Bryan. We're going to talk a little bit more about William Jennings Bryan, his career following, with the elections and following that, and then get into the Scopes monkey trial here in just a moment. You're watching Big Talk. Back after these.
For service beyond the surface, call Carter Trucking in Fairfield. Carter's trucks are ready to haul your big freight and grain. So whatever you call Jeremy Carter, the Mucho Mulcho Man, the driveway doctor, the gravel guru, the pothole pirate, the rockin' redneck, the smooth operator, the mudhole master, or the happy hauler, just call him. 842-2022 to haul your big freight, grain, and more with trucks from Carter Trucking, Williamson Drive in Fairfield.
When you want an honest deal and hometown service without the runaround, go to Lamont Chevrolet Chrysler in Fairfield. Let Gabe McGahey, Sheldon Bunning, Jeff Black, Dennis Downs, Matthew Rogers, or Caleb Dunn score the best deal for you on your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Parts and service departments with factory-trained technicians and express lane and state-of-the-art tire and alignment technology. Lamont's always inspects your battery, antifreeze, wipers, and tires for free. We want you prepared for the open road ahead. Open 24/7 at LaMonsOnline.com. You'll like the way we do business.
Having car trouble, need a tow, or just some routine maintenance? Butcher Automotive in Louisville has you covered. Locally owned and operated, Butcher Automotive offers complete vehicle repair services along with tire sales and wheel alignment. They're your local Hankook tire and interstate battery dealer. Butcher Automotive offers free local pickup and delivery so your car can be repaired while you're at work or at home. Butcher strives to treat everyone's vehicle as their own. At Butcher Automotive, they don't want you to give them your business, they want to earn it.
I'm Beth Cooper.
And I am Stacey Earlywhite, and together we host By the Way with Beth and Stacey.
It airs Monday through Friday on Wabash Channel 100 at 11 a.m. and again at 3 p.m.
We love to follow Clay County history, and we've been venturing out too in other counties. We absolutely love history.
You can also find us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey, or like and follow us on Facebook.
Yeah,
It's a little different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is different.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. Big Talk with Bruce Dickey here on Wabash Cats TV. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Joined by Jim Koehler here and Myron Lloyd over there as we are talking about William Jennings Bryan, the William Jennings Bryan house. Here, before we get a little further down the road, tell me when is the house and where is the house and when is it open for folks to tour?
It's 408 South Broadway, right across.
Just on Route 37.
On Route 37 and right across from Krause Funeral Home. So you
Okay.
can see the funeral home and then right across the street, there are flags and banners
Okay.
now on it. It's easy to spot.
Easy to spot, hard to miss. And when would one, if one was just meandering through town on a particular day, what day would I need to be there to see it?
Well, there's a sign on the door. It tells if you come and we're not open. It gives the 2 phone numbers to call. And
Okay.
one of us is always available to meet you there for a private tour, or they can be organized ahead of time.
You get a lot of, do you have a lot of school children come in to visit? I mean, it seems like it would kind of be a natural.
Yeah, we are trying that right now. We have a school coming in tomorrow. We've had the high school come in the last couple of years. Our superintendent, Brad Dietering, has said that everyone in Salem High School will have an opportunity to go through the home. And so we're encouraging any groups and
Our
anything,
homeschoolers are
homeschool people, anybody. We're kind of open 24/7. They can get a hold of us. And we'll be down there because we want everybody to go through, and we could give them a tour. We can have it at 45 minutes long or 4 hours, whatever
you need.
Whatever they need.
I got to tell you, we were talking off during the commercial break. I'm guessing that the tour you give to grade schoolers is a little different than the tour you give to high school.
You adjust your tours to what we have. We'll put one group down at the museum, and they'll be down there while we're doing this one, because we can only do about 15 people. The home's pretty small. And so then we'll flip-flop them and that sort of thing.
Well, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, let's talk about a few of the things you brought here.
Okay.
I'm guessing that the grade school kids like to see the sword more than anything.
They do love the sword. This was his sword that he used when he was...
Let's see, kind of a look like that.
Okay. When he was doing his parades, and...
will it open?
It will open.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
It's a long rascal.
It is a long rascal.
Yeah, so that's the sword that he used. He didn't kill anybody with it. I always tell him that ahead.
That is a heavy sword, though.
Yes, it is. And that was the sword that he sent and made these paperweights out of Isaiah. They'll take their swords and pound them into plowshares. And so that is a sword like they used to that, and we know that because it's written on there, and then it's got William Jennings Bryan's name. We didn't know that until this winter. We cleaned that off and found that.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so we'd gone through all that without having to
We knew that
know
it
what was
had
going
been
on. But that's a very
melted.
popular.
You knew that it was his, but you didn't realize.
Well, we knew the swords had been melted down, but we
Yeah.
didn't know this was
No,
one
we didn't
of
know
them.
this was
Yeah.
it or anything.
I got to tell you, I'm assuming, and I'm showing what this is, I'm assuming that when people look at this, they don't realize what that is.
They don't.
They don't.
I mean, I only knew it because I know the term plowshares.
Yeah.
But
That's
this ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking at it, that's a plow going into the
ground,
dirt.
and you don't use those anymore.
Well, Brian
You don't use those.
Brian was a pacifist, and he believed in peace, and the countries could get together and agree in peaceful ways
put that
rather
back
than
on?
in war. So it was right down the way he thought, and it was his last hurrah for the 30 peace treaties that he
So
was
these,
part of. Each country received one.
each country
And
received
then
this
the
as
city of
a
Salem
memento.
received one
Yeah.
at the library. It was
And
given
talk
to
about
our
still being
library.
friends, and I don't know if those countries have them, but we still have ours.
Wow. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Beating the swords in the plowshare.
That's exactly right, and the fact that it was that sword that he had used. So,
And most presidents won a war,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
and he did not.
Just in case you don't know how close he was to being elected, I did pull out the 1896 and the 1900 and the 1908 electoral college maps. He was pretty clear. I mean, this is pretty close in 1896.
Yeah, it was, yeah. 1896, if you were to take Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, and I believe it was Virginia and California, he lost all of those states by a total of 18,000 votes.
Oh, wow.
So it was very close. He didn't ask for a recount. I don't know if they just didn't do it back in those days, but he was very close. We know there was a lot of stuffing the ballot boxes. They do know that at that time, but in that one, that was it. And the media played a big part in the election.
So he ran as a blue. He was a
Right.
Democrat.
He was a
The
Democrat.
Democratic Party.
Right.
And the Republican in that race was McKinley. McKinley won, and McKinley won again he picked up a few more states.
Yes, in 1900, he won more states, but the wealthy Northeast really went for McKinley because they were scared to death about the gold standard thing. They were scared to death that silver with the gold was going
Right.
to create, and they were going to lose money.
And we are not about to get into what free silver is.
No. It is.
It would take us a little bit of time.
It is too confusing. It was
It's
just gonna-
difficult to understand.
It is difficult to understand. I'm a well-educated doggone guy, and I have difficulty realizing what
basically-
because the economy.
Or would it work?
Right. That's the thing. The economy works entirely different
Yeah.
in 2025.
And bring the countries that we deal with in with it, and they not on that standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, how would this have worked? I think it could have worked, but it was a pretty.
He was trying to get money to the poor. That's the whole thing. They didn't
He was
have
trying
money.
to, and then
So that's
you
the
have
only thing.
1908, and
Yeah.
this is when Roosevelt decided not to run. Taft beat him
Yeah.
here in 1908, carrying a lot of the northern part of the Union.
Yeah.
And actually,
They all did.
FDR and him were best friends.
Oh, really?
They went to each other's homes, and we'll can get more into
He went up to Hyde Park, and
and they
yeah,
came
they were good
to his
friends.
home.
Yeah.
oh, no kidding.
Many of the things in the New Deal were Bryan's ideas.
Well, see, now that makes a ton of sense
Yeah.
because Bryan was basically a reformer.
He was.
trying to get that kind of stuff. And again, and the fascinating thing to me is how young of a man is. This is his picture running for president in '96.
He's come up with all these ideas that most people don't think of until after they're 50. And so
So you've had a little opportunity to see how the world works.
He just, and without the experience, he just did what he needed to do.
He did what
He also named his daughter, Ruth, as the first, we'll say, ambassador to Denmark, the first lady ever.
Oh,
to
I
be
did not
given.
realize
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
She was given a different, not because she was a lady, but if they were countries that we really didn't depend on,
right.
they never really were given the name ambassador. They were a minister.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned that from the gal from the Smithsonian.
I had no idea of that.
So you're learning a lot.
I am learning a lot. See, you're a teacher.
That's it.
That's the thing. You're getting back into the
That's
saddle
it. I
of
love
teaching.
teaching. I love
We're not even going to get to the part where you're Secretary of State because when we come back, we're going to talk about the post-public. Well, I guess it's still public. The post-political career of William Jennings Bryan. Scopes Monkey Trial here on Big Talk with Bruce Dickey. We're talking about the reenactment as well as the trial itself. Back in a sec.
When Justin, a local volunteer firefighter, needs one of the department's trucks serviced, he calls Cam, whose repair company keeps everything rolling. In turn, Justin helps keep Cam and all of the community safe. Together, they support each other. And Wayne White Electric Cooperative supports them and every member with safe and reliable power. It's why REMCs exist. And together, it all works.
Residents of the Clay County and surrounding area have relied on Clay County State Bank for sound professional service for over 100 years. With convenient lobby and drive-up hours, we are ready to serve you Monday through Saturday. We appreciate all who bank with us, and we look forward to the opportunity of working with anyone who is looking for a community bank to help with their financial needs. Give us a call at 665-3314, visit us online, or stop by and see us on the square in Louisville to experience our friendly personal service.
When you want an honest deal and hometown service without the runaround, go to Lamont Chevrolet Chrysler in Fairfield. Let Gabe McGahey, Sheldon Bunning, Jeff Black, Dennis Downs, Matthew Rogers, or Caleb Dunn score the best deal for you on your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Parts and service departments with factory-trained technicians and express lane and state-of-the-art tire and alignment technology. Lamont always inspects your battery, antifreeze, wipers, and tires for free. We want you prepared for the open road ahead. Open 24/7 at LeMansOnline.com. You'll like the way we do business.
I thought I'd lost my business in that fire, but my agent was there before the flames were out. He said, together, we're going to rebuild. Our employees depended on it. My independent agent and auto owners made sure we didn't skip a beat. I mean, we didn't miss a single payroll.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there. Auto Owners Insurance. North Wayne Insurance Agency in Flora is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
folks, welcome back. Big Talk with Bruce Dickey here on Wabash Catch TV. Talking today with Jim Koehler along with Myron Lloyd. Okay. Tell me about the reenactment of the Scopes trial taking place in July.
Well, July 12th, beginning at 10 o'clock, we'll be having activities in the park. We will have the trial, the reenactment of the trial at 11 and
1:30.
1:30. Thank you.
Well, we've got
11:30 and 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 11:30.
11:30 and 1 o'clock.
This has 11 and 1:30.
Well, that may be it.
I guess it is
I think
now.
that's right.
As of today.
As of today.
There you go.
Yeah, it's on there. That's the right one, too. We've changed the time zones.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to do that. We have actors. We have, in fact, a lawyer is going to play Darrow, and he couldn't wait to get that job. But
Who's that?
We'll have, well, he's a guy from Salem. I'll just...
Okay.
People can come and find out.
Oh, you're not telling anybody who's playing.
People's names. They have to come out to see that. So we're doing it. It's 100 years, and the only other city that's going to be doing it is Dayton, Tennessee. And this is a one-shot deal because none of us here are probably alive when it's 200 years.
No.
So we're going to do that and let people know how this happened.
And you're not doing the whole trial. I mean,
We are
It was a week-long trial.
We are doing about a 30 to 45-minute thing in which they do. Dayton does a little bigger one. It's the same trial. They got the same script, but they're indoors. They're in the original courtroom. In Ray County, they still have the original courtroom and everything else where it took place. So we are bringing it in, and you know how all this got started was in Dayton, Tennessee, which was known for strawberries and tomatoes, and that was it. And the coal mine was getting ready to close down. So the president of the coal mine went to the school board president and said, we got to do something to build up Dayton, Tennessee. So the Scopes, the evolution, do not teach evolution in schools, just passed in Tennessee.
Tennessee had just passed a law making it illegal. The
Butler Act.
Butler Act making it illegal to teach evolution in school.
And many people were wanting to get a case on that to see if it's constitutional.
They're wanting to run it up
it.
to Supreme Court potentially.
So they get together and they say, well, let's have somebody in our school. So they selected John Scopes, who graduated from Salem High School.
Now hold on a second. Time out here. Time out right here. The dude who ends up going to jail for teaching evolution, it comes from Salem as well.
Yes. And William Jennings Bryan spoke at his commencement.
No
From high
kidding.
school.
What year so it would have been, 1925. Brian would have, probably 1915, I suspect, with because Scopes was a young man.
Scopes had just been out of school 3 years, so it was right around the end of I want to say 1919, but don't quote me on
Okay.
But he graduated, and he was there, and he must have done something, because when Brian meets him in Dayton, he told him, we're not going to have anything like we had back in Salem. So,
nobody knows what he did.
Nobody knows what he did. So anyway, those two guys got together and they got a hold of Scopes. Scopes was a young guy, dating around, single. They asked him, he's 20 some odd years old. He'd been involved with it. He went to the University of Kentucky. So he'd been involved here. And so he said, hey, the president of the school board, what am I going to tell him? No? So he said, okay.
This is John Scopes.
They were going to have him substitute in a science class. Okay, and he
was like the football coach.
Yeah, he was the football coach.
Right.
Because you always pick football coaches do things.
Football coaches don't do anything.
Yeah, I did. I was a football coach, so I knew about that. So anyway, he says, okay. So he goes into the class, teaches. They call the kids out, and they say, did he teach evolution? No, all he talked about was football. Oh, now we got a problem. And see, they have invited Brian.
They were trying to get something going, and
they had invited Brian because they knew he would bring thousands of people to Dayton.
Yeah.
And Darrow had said, Darrow knew Brian, and he said, as soon as he found out Darrow was going to be there, he said, I will do that for free.
Yeah.
So they're not out any money.
Mm-hmm.
So
Darrow, basically, if you don't know the names, Clarence Darrow, probably the most famous
lawyer.
defense attorney.
Right.
Of his,
he had just gotten the guys off in Chicago.
Leopold and Loeb fellows.
That's right. He'd just gotten them off.
Right.
So he had to get together with the kids, and they drove around town in the car, and Scopes taught them about evolution. So that's how that happened. So when they got on the floor, when they asked the question, did he teach evolution, they would have to say, yes, but just don't tell them where you were.
Oh, I see.
So they would assume.
It was in school.
It was in school. So they got that going. Everything got going well. People came.
How many people were there? It's the middle of summer in July.
Right.
No air conditioning.
No air conditioning. It is blazing hot.
Pre-TVA, pre-everything.
Everything. WGN out of Chicago paid $1,000 to hook it up on the radio. It was the greatest trial of the century. It was the greatest con of the century, and it's just amazing. Every 30 minutes they would stop. This is WGN for Chicago.
So WGN did the whole thing.
They broadcast everything. They broadcast every 30 minutes. They would and photographers would come in, take pictures, and everything else of all of them in there. It was the trial of the century. The only thing that could be compared to it now would be the OJ trial,
right, yeah.
But he had all the media.
Yeah,
they didn't have this. In Dayton, Tennessee, all of the stores, which are still there today, were packed.
Well, there's a newspaper from New York.
New York. Oh, all the papers came in. The ACLU, which is just getting a start, came down. Every attorney wanted to be in there. And in fact, one of Bryan's helpers was one of the guys that worked with him when he was Secretary of State. Now, Bryan was just there as a figurehead. He was not
initially.
Right. He was not one of the major, he never cross-examined anybody.
Oh, he didn't?
No. But Darrow called him to the trial. People. And they said, wait a minute, don't go up there. And Bryan said, I'm just going to go up there and tell the truth. Bad mistake.
Bad mistake.
Yeah, bad mistake. He didn't watch Law and Order on TV.
We got one last break. We're going to come back and talk more about this, about the retrial, not the retrial, the reenactment of the trial, as well as the Scopes monkey trial. A little bit more here with Jim and Myron. You watch Big Talk, back in a sec.
Fashion is our passion at Carnaby Square. We specialize in customer service and have since 1980. Our multi-generational boutique features your favorite on-trend to classic famous maker fashions, footwear, accessories, and a massive inventory of bright. So come, relax, explore, and elevate your look with us. Everyone is welcome, where we always wrap it, tag it, and bag it for free at Carnaby Square in downtown Fairfield.
Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
When you want an honest deal and hometown service without the runaround, go to Lamont Chevrolet Chrysler in Fairfield. Let Gabe McGahey, Sheldon Bunning, Jeff Black, Dennis Downs, Matthew Rogers, or Caleb Dunn score the best deal for you on your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Parts and service departments with factory-trained technicians and express lane and state-of-the-art tire and alignment technology. Lamont always inspects your battery, antifreeze, wipers, and tires for free. We want you prepared for the open road ahead. Open 24/7 at LeMansOnline.com. You'll like the way we do business.
Welcome back, Big Talk with Bruce Dickey here on Wabash Catch TV. We're having a good time here with Jim Koehler and Myron Lloyd as we're talking about that's the thing. There are a lot of funny things. It was probably intimately serious.
It was
to 80% of the people down there, but there's a lot of funny stuff happened at this.
There is some
over the course of this
just
trial.
Amazing things that happened, like when the ceiling started to fall down. They said we got to take this outside, and plus it was so hot. You're in Tennessee or in July.
And totally against the law.
And so that's against the law. You couldn't do that. But they knew, hey, we're not doing this for the trial. We're doing this for get people in to Dayton.
Yeah.
And so they did take the trial outside. Now, see, Bryan was told that he would be able to cross-examine Darrow.
Because Bryan, that's why he agreed
that
to.
That was the deal. Well, when he took it outside, and this was, I believe, on the 7th day.
Let's see.
And
there
they are. Yeah. And I was sitting. They reenact the Scopes Trial every year in Dayton.
Okay.
And I was sitting right there. There's Bryan, and I was sitting right behind him. That's where the jury was.
Okay.
I was the foreman of the jury. They said, "Hey, anybody went in there?" Well, I bought the cheap seat, so I got right there with Bryan. And so they decided to take the trial outside. That was not legal to do, but they didn't care because it wasn't going to be legal anyway. And Darrow and Bryan both agreed Scopes was guilty.
There's Darrow and Bryan right there.
They both agreed Scopes was guilty. So and Darrow said, "Let's find him guilty so I can take it on up to the Supreme Court." But that didn't happen, and
but the judge did it anyway.
The judge just he ended the trial, and Bryan did not get to cross-examine Darrow. And that really made him mad.
It's been recorded too, the way the jury was selected. The judge's fourth grader son picked the jury. It was all picked before.
Yeah. So they had.
Oh my gosh!
They kind of like the deal when we go down there. They just pick you out of the crowd and they give you little notes to say. But so they found him guilty. He was fined $100, and there's all different kind of stories. Who paid it? If anybody paid it or what? And it did move on up in the courts, and it was all thrown out. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing was the judge had moved the trial outside, and you couldn't have a legal trial outside.
No. That's fascinating. I had no idea that they threw the whole thing out because of it was outside.
And there was there's been other ones that some people said the maximum fine was $50. They fined him $100. I've read where it was $100 was okay, but they knew that the judge knew if I fined him $100, they would throw it out because.
He wanted it to go on.
The fascinating part, we got about a minute to go. You see here, that's Bryan on the right and Darrow on the left. Bryan doesn't live much past this trial.
He died
5 days.
Just 5 days later, he'll be dead.
Oh, that's just...
Now, Scopes went back to his life, and he actually is buried at Paducah, Kentucky.
Yep.
He ended up in Paducah, Kentucky.
Tell me where one might
He's
find
buried
this.
in Arlington Cemetery. Is where he and his wife and one of his daughters is.
So the Spanish-American War, he was a
colonel in the
and
Nebraska.
Secretary of State, so he got to be buried there. And his daughter was buried there,
and
too.
It's a long ways to get
I guess that makes sense, his daughter being the diplomat.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't. She remained in Denmark as like a snub back to
her
sister?
But
the youngest, Grace. Grace and her father were never.
A guy that was on the
King's
guard of the King of Denmark.
Yeah.
And if a woman married a foreigner, she lost her citizenship. If a man married a foreign woman, it's okay. So
and here's the suffrage.
To get to him, she's buried in Denmark.
Fellas, we could talk for hours.
We could.
We've run out of time here, though. I'd love to have you back again sometime. If you want to come back closer to July, whenever we know more details, that'd be great.
We only need to know 30 minutes ahead of time we can be here.
Myron, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Jim, nice to meet you both. Hey, folks, thanks for watching Big Talk with Bruce Dickey. We'll catch you next time. Have a great day.